Assalamu alaikum class. This is Muhammad Shafqat Nawaz. I hope you all are fine. Welcome you all to the Google Classroom once again. Today we are going to talk about teaching and curriculum design with specific focus on assessment and evaluation. This lecture will cover the following topics. Graves' model of curriculum design. Under this topic, we will explain different subtopics which come under curriculum design because of the reason that curriculum design is a term which is very broad in sense in all the activities and all the subtopics which come under this broad term curriculum design will be discussed under this uh, point. I mean, Graves' model of curriculum design. Graves was a person and he gave the model in 2000 in his study. So we will explain that which of the subtopics come under curriculum design, which are some of the very important activities which need to be carried out in order to design a curriculum. So we will discuss these all these things under this topic. And the second one is assessment and evaluation. Certainly, curriculum design, this broader term also includes assessment and evaluation in it. So in other words, we can say that assessment and evaluation are the part of curriculum design. I mean, curriculum design is a group of so many activities, and assessment and evaluation, these two terms also come under curriculum design, but we will explain these two terms in detail in our lecture. We will elaborate, I mean briefly, we will elaborate briefly the other terms which come under curriculum design, but the focus of our lecture will be on assessment and evaluation. So let's start with the Graves model of curriculum design. This model, the picture, the image is given over there on the slide, and this image has been taken from the book, and the source of the book is being mentioned over there. The writers and the year publication have been given on the slide. So this is basically Graves' model of curriculum design. So in this, this image, we can see in this picture, we can see that there are so many terms. These so many terms are actually the subtopics which come under course design or curriculum design when we talk about. So the first one is defining the context, and then we have articulating beliefs and assessing needs. Furthermore, we have formulating objectives and developing material, and then we have conceptualizing content, or organizing the course, and then we have designing an assessment plan. So all these things definitely have some kind of order. First there's one thing, and the second thing, and the third thing, and so on, because of the reason that all the things should be sequenced properly. If some of the activity is missed under curriculum design, we can say that missing of any activity which is a part of curriculum design, the missing of any activity, or if any of the activity is not handled properly, that can cause problems, that can be the reason of failure of any curriculum. So all these things should be sequenced, mean these should come in a organized manner, step by step. And the second thing is that all these things should be present over there when a curriculum is being designed. So it's very important. So in order to know that what is actually the sequence, and what does these terms actually mean, what do these terms actually mean, in order to know all these things, I mean the sequence and the meaning of these terms which have been given over there under this course design, I mean in that image. We will explain these things definitely in the next slide. So we are going toward the next slide to explain these things. This is also, I mean, this image has also been taken from the book, and the source of the book was the previous one. I mean, on previous slide, the source was given. This image also has the origin to that book, we can see that there are two type of the two models have been given over here, and the comparison of two models have been given over here. And the reason is that in order to know, because some of the terminologies which are there in Dave's model, those are complex. In order to know the meaning of those terms, those terminologies, the comparison has been drawn for the better understanding. The second model which is given over there, I mean language curriculum design model, that is a model which has been treated or explained by the nation and Malsister. So we are going to explain the difference between these two, and we are going to elaborate Graves' frame of course development process. So these are actually the processes. The first one, that was given in the book, which, and the reference of the book has also been given over there at the end of the present this lecture. The first one is environment analysis, and in Graves' model, this term has been replaced with the defining the context. So environment analysis actually means that in which environment, in which type of setting any course is being designed. So in this term, we can say that it should be assessed that who are the students, what is their level, and secondly, it should also be assessed or checked that who are the teachers, what are their qualifications, and what type of teaching methodologies that they can use. They have the ability to use, I would say, which type of methodologies they can use. Whether they are able to use the proper methodologies or not, or the updated methodologies or not, or the modern methodologies or not. And the second thing is that whether the instruments for the assessment of any course are present or not. The environment analysis contains the availability of infrastructure as well as the instruments for assessment and teaching. There are some of the methodologies which require technological, instruments as well. So environment analysis also deals with these things. Furthermore, environment analysis deal with this thing, that who are the students, what are their needs, the context in which the teaching will take place, all those elements of all those parts of context or environment, those should be assessed. This one is environment analysis, and Graves in his framework that uses the term defining the context. And then the second the second term, the second step in this process of curriculum designing is needs analysis. And in Graves' framework, the term of assessing needs has been used instead of needs analysis. So needs analysis or assessing needs, these two terminologies, these refer that certainly there are some of the needs of the students when they are being taught. When any curriculum is being designed, it should be kept in mind that what are the needs of the students. Do the students need to learn a language in order to use in formal context, or do the students need to learn language in order to use in informal context? Are they learning for academic purposes, or we can say that either they're learning for academic purposes or for business purposes, or they have to use those whatever they're learning, meaning English language or any other language, whether they need to use in um, for the purposes which are highly formal, or somehow formal and informal. All these things should be kept in mind. What are the needs of the students? Do they need to write, or do they need to speak? Whenever at the accomplishment of the of any curriculum or course, we can say that whether they be able to speak English fluently or to write English effectively. What are actually the needs? It's very important that the curriculum, or the contents or the material that are being used in order to teach them, they should match with their needs. mean, if the students are learning English language in order to speak fluently, the curriculum should be designed in a way that it should accomplish their need. It should fulfill their need. If the students are learning in order to improve their writing abilities in English language, I mean the curriculum or the course or the material that is being taught to them, that should be designed in a way that it should fulfill their need of writing. I mean, they should be able to write effectively at the end of the syllabus. So needs analysis is very important. And then third one is a principle. I mean, what are the principles? Principles are and the term which is being which has been used by Grave in his framework, that is articulating beliefs. I mean, on which beliefs or on which principles the teaching or designing of any curriculum will be carried out. So the principles which actually guide them in formulating, in designing any curriculum, those principles and articulating beliefs are very important. In principle and articulating beliefs, these are two terms which have been used. The first one has been used by the nation and the collaborative scholar, and the second term, articulating beliefs, that has been used by Grave in Grave's model of curriculum design. And the fourth one is fourth step in this process is goals, determining goals. And Grave uses the word formulating goals and objectives. These mean two terms. Goals are formulating goals and objectives. These refer to the determination or setting of some of the objectives of any course. I mean, if students, if you have seen the course outline of your subjects, you see that the objective of the courses of any type of courses, those are given over there before the outline, that this subject aims to, this course aims to develop such kind of abilities in the students. For example, sometimes it happens that some of the courses, they do focus on the writing skills of the students. I mean, if we can say the academic writing is a subject, if we see the objectives or goals of that subject, we see that that subject focuses on developing the writing abilities of the student, that they should be able to draft, they should be able to write, they should know the skills which are very important or needed or required for effective writing. While if we see that there's a subject, communication skills, if we see the course outline of that subject, we see that before the course outline it is mentioned over it is always mentioned that what are the objectives of that syllabus. Mean that if that is about communication skill, the objectives should be like that, those and that this course will help students in order to know the effective skills which are very important. We can say that when somebody is trying to communicate with other people, I mean the presentation skills, the turn taken skills, the conversations, some of the rules of conversation, how to start the talk and how to interrupt, and what are the methods to raise your point when you are involved in a discussion, and how to object. Certainly we can say that there are some of the rules. You do not have you do not show your right image if you are objecting bluntly. I mean, you should use some of the polite words. If even if you are objecting, you should be polite in your approach or language. So every subject has some kind of goals, or we can say that objectives over there, and the next one is content and sequencing. Content and sequencing, this is a term. And then if we see that in Graves framework of course development process, this process has been labeled as organizing the course, conceptualizing content. Content and sequencing means that which thing should come first and what thing should come after that. If we talk about product oriented syllabus and the subtype of grammar, structural subjects, we know that those subjects teach things first by first. First the simple thing and then the complex thing. If you have gone through the lecture on product oriented syllabus, I have explained these things that the simple things come first and then the complex thing. It is not always necessary that the things which are simple or which are at the simpler level of language, those are not necessarily simple or easy to learn. It does not mean that the simple things are easy to learn or the difficult, the next level things are difficult to learn. These are actually the categories, these are actually the differentiating terms which are used for the different levels of any language. If we talk about language, for example, as a whole, we have so many levels. Mean at first at phonetics, then phonology, and then we have morphology, then semantics, and then syntax, and then discourse, and so on. I mean, there are so many different levels and stepwise level. First there is a simple thing, then complex, then more complex and more complex. So see what would be the sequence of any course, which of the topic will come first, and which you certainly cannot put the thing which should come in the middle of any course right in the first topic. Definitely the topic starts, the course starts with the introduction and then the simple things, then the thing which will be based on the previous lecture, and then the thing which will be based on the second lecture, and so on. The transition is always in a way that the next lecture always is based on the previous lecture. So the course is designed in this way. The content is sequenced in specific manner. So organizing the course, conceptualizing the content, this term and the content and sequence, and these two terms refer to the organization of any course. And format and presentation, this term has been used as or replaced as a developing material by Graves' framework of course development, and these two terms refers that how the activities or the content of the material will be formed, which type of activities will be used, and at which moment, which type of things or material would be included in the course in order to accomplish the goals and all these things which we have discussed earlier. The needs, to fulfill the needs or whatsoever, which type of activities will be used, and what would be the format of those activities, and how those activities would be presented or performed, different tasks and all those things, and what type of material will be used, and what would be the way of using any material. And then the next step is monitoring and assessment. And this similar term, monitoring and assessment, this has been used as replaced as designing an assessment plan by in Graves' framework of course development process. And the next term is evaluation, and this term has also been labeled as designing an assessment plan by Graves' framework of course development in Graves' framework of course development process. And for the term evaluation, the same, I have already said that designing an assessment plan, this term has been used to label the concept of evaluation as well. So the let's start with the assessment. This is our second the outline which stated that we will focus more on assessment and evaluation. So we are going to discuss these two terms now. Let's start with the assessment. The aim of this part of the curriculum design process is to decide what to test and how to test it. Under this section, it is decided that what will be checked or assessed, actually which type of assessment will be carried out, and what type of test will be used. So there are different types of assessment. We will explain briefly all the types of assessment as well, in order to give you people some overview, so that you may be able to understand this term, this concept of assessment. So the first type is placement assessment. So whenever sometime whenever any course is being started, whenever any program is being started, that requires some kind of placement assessment should be carried out. The learners are assessed at the beginning of a course in order to place them. For example, there are so many institutes where language teaching programs are being carried out, and when somebody is intending to take admission in those institutes, there's a placement assessment right at the beginning of the course, and according to their performance, according to the performance of students, they are placed in different classes. I mean, for example, some of the students who are unable to perform well, or they do not have good knowledge, or if they are below average, they are placed at the basic level of in a program, in a class where they are taught with the basic level of English language. And there are some of the students who are at average level, mean their score in that assessment, mean placement assessment is average, and they are put in a course which starts from their level. And then there are some students who are excellent, or who are good, we may say that, who are good, and they are taught with advanced level courses. So placement assessment is right at the beginning of the course. And then the second type of assessment is short-term achievement assessment, when the course is being run during the course with the regular intervals. I mean, we can say that after 2 months or 1 month, or whatever the interval is, whatever the limit of interval is, the students are that with different activities. They are monitored, that how they are we can say that how they are performing, and what type of learning is being carried out. At regular interval during the course, the learners may be monitored to see what they are learning from the course. And after that, there's a type of assessment which is known as a diagnostic assessment. In order to plan a program, it is useful to know where learners' strengths and weaknesses lie. So when we talk about, for example, error analysis, there's the term error analysis. Through error analysis, we can judge that what are the weak areas of students, and what are the strength. I mean, in which areas the students are strong, and which areas need to be focused more. So diagnostic assessments help in order to know the weak and the strong areas of the students. Either these are about the vocabulary or grammar or whatever the course aims at, the students are judged thoroughly in that course in order to know that which are the weak areas of the students, and what are the strong areas of the students. And achievement assessment, there's another term, achievement assessment, and usually at the end of a course, and perhaps at one or two other points when during the course after 4 months or 5 months, but not more than one or two times. But usually at the end of the course, the students are judged. That type of assessment is known as achievement assessment. Usually at the end of course, and perhaps at one or two other points during the course, the learners are assessed on what they have learned from the course. And product oriented syllabus, we see that the students are judged right at the end, that what is their level of performance, how much they have learned. And then furthermore, we have proficiency assessment, and proficiency assessment is based on items drawn from the language as a whole rather than from the content of a particular course. I mean, if we talk about different courses, some of the courses they aim at developing pronunciation skills of the students. Some of the courses they aim at developing vocabulary of the students, and some of the courses they aim at developing writing skills of the students. Some of the courses they aim at developing semantic knowledge of the students, knowledge about the meanings of the students. And some of the courses they aim at developing writing skills, so communication skills as well. Some of the courses are there. But when we say that if any course is aiming at judging or assessing or checking, aiming at checking the overall performance of the students in whole, language as a whole, in every part of language. Those type of assessments, those type of tests, they are known as proficiency assessments. And for example, there's a team, IELTS is there. I mean, English. When we talk about English language, the IELTS that test every, all four scales of language: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. So this is very important. I mean, proficiency assessment and test. I mean, these aim at very, broader. This is a very broader test, and it aims at every aspect of language. And when we talk about the successful assessment, or if we say that some of the points which are very important and necessary in order to make any assessment successful or relevant or valid or reliable, those terminologies which explain those important points, those areas are known as reliability, validity, and practicality. The first one is mean reliability. When we talk about reliability means the test should generate the results irrespective of the conditions. Means, for example, sometimes it happens that the students are nervous, the students are fatigued, the students are have not slept the day before the test, there's a noise around, and all these things. Definitely, they do have some kind of impact on the tests, but reliable assessments are the assessments which 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 are aimed at eliminating, or if not eliminating, at least reducing the impact of all these irrelevant things. And the second thing is that the reliable assessments, they generate results consistently. The next thing in of reliable assessments is that the those things which are being actually assessed, there are so many atoms about those things. Mean, on the basis of a single any atom of related whatsoever, mean either it's about vocabulary or syntax or whatsoever, based on single atom, if there's a assessment which is based on single atom, it the results of that single assessment having just one atom, that cannot generate reliable results. Assessment should contain so many things, so that there must be some data which should talk about, which should speak for the reliability of any assessment. And validity is a term which is used to refer to the assessments, that the assessments should aim to measure what it the assessment if the assessment measures what it is supposed to measure, then it is valid. I mean, the validity is a term if assessment aims what it is supposed to measure, then this is validity of any of that assessment. This there are two terms. I mean, there's a face we can say that face validity and content validity. These are two terms. Face validity is that if the if any assessment aims to measure a vocabulary, or the if assessment aims to assess or check vocabulary, it should look like a vocabulary assessment. This is a face validity. If any assessment aims to measure syntax related things, or assess syntax related things, it should look like syntax assessment. This is face validity. And the content validity is, sometimes it happens that from the upper from the surface level, we can say that things look like vocabulary, but actually they are not like vocabulary. Things look like syntax, but actually those are not the part or areas or the core areas of at least syntax. Content validity is that content of the actually From the surface level, we can say that those look like any vocabulary related, but content is not like that. Content validity is when the content of any assessment is also relevant to the area which it is supposed to measure. If any assessment is aimed to measure or assess or check the vocabulary of the students, it should have the content which should which should be given to the students in order to assess their vocabulary related, or if it is about syntax, the content should be syntax related. It is validity. And the third term is practicality. Practicality is that there are so many things which are very important. First one is that how much time will any assessment take? When you cannot imagine that the students should be measured for consistently for 20 hours. If any assessment takes that much time, it is not practicable. You cannot practically carry out such assessment. And for example, if any assessment needs so much time to evaluate, to check the papers or whatsoever the method is being used, if that is time taking for the teachers, for the examiners, that is also not practical. You cannot practically carry out such assessment. If the students, when the assessment is being carried out, the proper sitting plan, for example, we say that if that needs, so many examiners to be present over there, one examiner for one person, it would also not be practicable. Whether the method that is being used that is costly or very much expensive, or average or affordable or not, we can say. So if that is not affordable, we can say that is that way or that method of assessment is not practicable. So practicality refers to all those things which assure that this assessment can practically be carried out. That it should not be time taking, it should save the time of the teachers, it should be affordable by the students to write in a proper time as well. That the cost and expenses should be affordable, the time should be affordable, the instruments should be available, all these things, these refer to the practicality of any assessment. So if these three things are there, reliability, validity, and practicality, in term when we talk about assessments, if these three things are there, we can say that those assessments can be very successful, very relevant, and good, proper, suitable. But if one of these is missing, or all of these are missing, or two of these are missing, those we can say that those assessments are somehow compromised. Those are not exactly fine. The status of those assessments is not proper or suitable. Somehow that is not suitable. And then we have evaluation. The aim of this part of curriculum design process is to decide how to check if the course is successful and where it needs to be improved. It actually aims at checking about the successful status of any course as being successful or not, to check the weak areas of the of the course, and the teaching process as well. For example, you evaluate the performance of the teacher, and this is also a subcategory of evaluation. You evaluate the teacher performance. You can evaluate, even in some of the countries, even in Pakistan, you have in your when you are evaluating the course and the teacher as well, you evaluate, some of the questions are definitely about the course as well, that how much you have learned, and some other questions about the course. So you do evaluate. Evaluation is a term we can say that contains so many things. It can be about so many things, and we will explain these things. Find who the evaluation is for. It's very important that when you are going to evaluate, you should first keep in mind that who the evaluation is for. I mean, for whom you are evaluating, what kind of information that is required or needed, and find what the results of the evaluation will be used for, whether it will be used to improve the course. I mean, there are some of the lackings in the course and you are aiming at improving the course, or I mean, you are going to decide that whether this course should be kept or it should be removed from the syllabus, and then we remove from the curriculum and decide if the evaluation is necessary or if the needed information is already available. Sometimes it happens that you are trying to collect information, but actually that information is already available. If that is already available, then why you are wasting your time and cost and money? And that's very important, that you should check whether that information is already available or not. Find how much time and money are available to do the evaluation. At some time it happens that the cost of evaluation is very huge, very expensive, and you cannot afford that. But if you indulge into that kind of evaluation, and right in the middle or at the end you remain, you see that that is not possible now, it would definitely consume your time, your power, your energy, and then your overall your money as well. So that would be very uh, drastic. Decide what kinds of information will be gathered. It's very important that what kind of information you need to get. The information can be about so many things which are given over there, that you want to assess the amount of learning, quality of learning, amount of learning, that how much something has been learned, quality of learning, that how well or how brilliantly, what is the quality of learning, and then quality of teaching, how the teachers have been teaching, and the quality of curriculum design, what type of curriculum has been designed. Do you want to assess that there is some kind of lacking in the course, or the course is perfect, or whatever the weak areas are, or the strong areas of the course? Do you want to know about those things? Or then you have quality of course administration, how the course had been administered in the we can say that whether the time that is being has been allocated for that course, I mean 3 hours a week, is that fine? Or mean the other administration related things. And then you have the quality of sport services. I mean, there are some of the services which are very important. I mean, lab work is very important. You need to know that whether the lab work, lab and all the accessories over there, are those working properly. Library is over there, or the functioning of library is fine, is the functioning of library is fine, and etc. Language lab is very important thing. You don't know about so many. There are so many softwares. I mean, computer related. We can say that there are computers which which have there are softwares which are there in the computer, and there are so many machines which can assess the machines used for example for in phonetics and phonology. There are so many. If you look at the role of language lab and language teaching, you will see that there are so many things which are which mean language lab can help. Teacher satisfaction, you should also know that whether the teacher is satisfied with the course or not. And then learner satisfaction, you should also know that whether the learner is, I mean, you can evaluate these things, that whether I mean, sometimes you evaluate these things, whether the learner is satisfied or not, through questionnaire, through tests, through so many things. These things can be assessed. I mean, then you have sponsor satisfaction. Then later success of gratuities of the course, and financial profitability of the course. All these things should be evaluated. And the teacher evaluation you people go for, that is also a part of evaluation. I mean, through different questionnaire, yes or no option, or agreed, disagreed, or you mean there are these are known as open-ended questionnaire. Through open-ended questionnaire, sometimes teachers are assessed. Similarly, course quality can be assessed, learning quality, teaching quality, course administration quality sport, all these things can be assessed. This is known as evaluation of all these things. So the difference between evaluation and assessment is basically assessment aims at what to decide what is to be tested and how to test it, and evaluation is about the assessment of, about the checking of, about judging that either the course is working properly or not, what are the weak areas of course and what are the strong areas of course, whether the teaching has been carried out perfectly or not, the quality, what was the quality of teaching and what was the quality of learning. When you evaluate these things, what was the quality of curriculum design, what was the quality of services by the lab and library, etc., whether the teacher or student, whether the learners are satisfied, whether the sponsors of that course or that program are satisfied or not, and then the profitability and the success of graduates. And reference, finally, we can see that this is a reference to the book Language Curriculum Design, and I have taken the material from that book. Hope the things are clear to you. Thank you very much. Stay blessed. Allah Hafiz.